Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin and my co-host, Dale, on Twitter at Dynasty_Dale. Today, we got a fun one for you. You know, we've been going through this week, recapping some of the Combine. We're not going to get to all of it. There's too much information, too many guys at the Combine, too many good players this year, which is a good problem to have. So today we're going to be going through a mock draft to break up some of the monotony of going through these guys. We'll finish up the skill players next week, and next week we should also have a lot of information, maybe even a whole episode just dedicated to free agent signings. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, if you saw the episode on Tuesday, I kind of broke down why this was going to be on Friday, and you know, the skill player breakdowns are going to be Wednesday and Thursday. We have a guest and he was not able to jump on until Tuesday. So that is what it is. Thank you guys for coming back though today. And I'm super excited to get into this mock draft. The way that we're going to be doing this, I guess, Dale, you're going to be picking one and I'm going to be picking the other. Do you want more picks or less picks?
I always want more picks.
All right, so you're going to be doing odds then, because there's only 31 picks in this upcoming draft. So I'll take all the even picks, and we will go from there. So first thing we're going to do, and this is going to be a full mock draft, all 32 teams. We're using PFF's NFL Mock Draft Simulator. I don't really love PFF for their values on these players. You're going to see their draft board and how ridiculous some of the players on here are so stupidly valued, but it is what it is. It's PFF. You got to take it or leave it. But that said, you know, I have been wanting to do a mock draft all offseason. I've been holding off, and I know this isn't specifically Dynasty related. That's why it's kind of coming out on Friday. Hopefully you guys enjoy this content though, and we're just going to be talking some football here today. So Dale, how you doing today? Any last thoughts here?
I'm doing great. I am very excited for today's topic. I honestly feel this is alongside like doing mock drafts for fantasy, I love doing real life mock drafts to see where these players go, and we can kind of like get some trades involved, and and just try to big brain it like the GMs do.
Yep, exactly. So, real quick, because this is the one, there's two directions a mock draft can go, right? What we would do and what we think will happen. So today, because we're so early in the offseason, we still got a month and a half until the actual NFL draft. We're going to do what we would do with these picks, not necessarily what the teams will be doing for these picks, but we're going to be, going through what we think is going to happen. And the first thing you're going to notice, so here's the draft board. First thing you're going to notice is we already have a trade in here, and we kind of agreed upon this before the podcast. I don't know the terms of what this is going to look like, but I do believe that the Chicago Bears are not going to be picking at number 1 overall. Figuring out at this point in time which team is going to make that jump, the most likely candidate for me is Carolina. The Colts just don't seem like guys who are willing to trade up and go get a guy. None of the other teams at 5, 6, 7, 8, they're not really willing to come up. I think Carolina is the one team who wants to go get their guy. You look at the history of Frank Reich and everything that's going on with him in Indy, and I just think that he's going to want to solidify his guy. So that puts you on the clock, Dale. Who are you planning on taking here with this pick?
All right, so for the first overall pick for the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to pick CJ Stroud out of the Ohio State University. I feel he is the most complete quarterback in this draft. He's extremely smart. He's pinpoint accuracy. I am excited to see him with like some DJ Moore, and whatever weapons they get. And I think he's going to be the Panthers' starting quarterback for a long time. So I am very excited for him going number 1 overall.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Definitely agree with that. So, CJ Stroud, great player. Now, at 2, you've got the Houston Texans. They've been talking about a quarterback this whole time. Everyone has them taking Bryce Young. You look at, here's the one thing, right? They've got D'Amico Ryans as the new head coach. The one thing I'll say about him, they're probably going to go Bryce Young. Their offensive coordinator is a PFF guy. Like, he's just a PFF guy.
Boy.
So everyone at PFF has Bryce Young as the far and away number one quarterback on their board and everything like that. So, that's why I laid out at the very beginning, this is what we would do, not what the NFL, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And if I am the Houston Texans here, you look at what they had over in San Francisco, where both of these guys came from, right? Trey Lance, rushing quarterback. I still think there's a world where they could trade for Trey Lance. I think it's less and less likely just due to the Brock Purdy injury at this point in time.
Yep.
Unfortunately, if Tom Brady hadn't retired and it would have just gone to the Niners, there's a 100% chance Trey Lance would have been traded somewhere, and he would have been basically the Anthony Richardson of this draft class, right? But that said, I'm taking Anthony Richardson, who is a Trey Lance light for this team, and I'm going to be taking him and pairing him with some guys that I think know how to utilize the run, utilize the holes on this team. Their offensive line has a few weaknesses there. Not the best receiving core at this point in time. Bryce Young can overcome that a little bit more, but I just say give me the upside with Anthony Richardson. I think that you're going to make Bryce Young go to the Colts, and I think that's going to be a mistake based on the size. So you get to punt the little midget over to your opponent, your division rivals, and let them deal with it.
Exactly, which I don't hate that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that does happen with all this hype that we've gotten from the combine.
Yes, sir.
Honestly. So, I think that's a fairly realistic pick at 2.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I just think that because of the PFF connection with both of these guys that used to work for PFF, there's no world where they're not going to go Bryce Young. But that said, give me the upside of Anthony Richardson, man. Just make a splash. This franchise needs something. And Bryce Young is not a guy that is going to excite your fan base. He's just not that guy. I understand that all the high-end analysts and scouts and everything are like, oh, this guy's really good. And he is really good. He is really, really good. But when you're 5'10" and, 200 pounds soaking wet, it's just not something to energize your fan base. And I think an Anthony Richardson with all the hype around him, exactly like you just said, that'll get everybody going. So go get the guy that's going to hype up this fan base, make people excited about Texas again,
Right. No, I get that. So, so for the third overall pick with the Cardinals,
this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it does get interesting. Now, I don't see them trading Kyler or something crazy like that. I think they're gonna try to get defense. Honestly, that's really what I see them doing. They need to do something because
it makes sense.
Their whole team. Yeah, it does.
Jonathan Gannon being the new head coach, he's going to want to get one of his guys. But here's the one thing with the Cardinals. It came out today that they're looking at trading back in this draft. And, you look at the PFF mock draft board here, they need guard and center and left tackle and right tackle. They need an entire offensive line.
Everything.
And I get it. They need defense too. This team is in rough shape. I honestly believe that they're going to try and trade out because the Colts pick at 4, and you're going to have, right here we had 2 quarterbacks go off the board, but you're going to be able to sell either Bryce Young or Will Levis. In reality, probably Will Levis or CJ Stroud more than likely to somebody. But
Probably.
I think that some teams are going to want to kind of jump the Colts to solidify one of those 2 guys. So Cardinals are probably going to trade back and get more assets. And if they can trade back somewhere like 8, 7, somewhere in that range and get an offensive lineman, here I think it's a little too rich. The defensive players are too good, but man, they need offensive line way more than defense right now.
No, I agree with that. And the problem with the Cardinals is that they have so many holes to fill that they just need warm bodies at this point.
So who are you going to go?
Pick at 3. I mean, I'm either going with I'm either thinking Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. So
Jalen Carter, just the rest thing, right? So
I was gonna bring that up. With having that, which I don't think that's gonna necessarily put him on the commissioner list, but I think that's a. I mean, I don't think it's gonna do anything like that, but that's still a little red flag with me.
Sure.
And really this whole process, I feel that Will Anderson's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I am very excited
Yep.
about. I mean, I'm not. I don't like Alabama football at all, but I know this guy's talented, and I think he's going to be one of the best Cardinals picks for a long time.
All right, so
So
Will Anderson is
yep,
off the
I'm
board here.
Will Anderson.
I will say the one thing that I've heard a lot of today, following the combine, is the Cardinals really like Tyree Wilson over even Will
Hmm.
Anderson, which
Yep,
would be
yep,
crazy. That would be
yep.
nuts. Will
I've been
Anderson's
hearing
been
that
talked
too
about as a top like 2 pick in this draft for
for a
years now.
long time. For a
So,
long time. Yeah.
yeah, that would be pretty crazy. All right, so here. Ah, man, this is the worst because you're putting me in the Colts shoes, right? And I have to
Yep.
pick between Will Levis and Bryce Young for the Colts. And honestly, I'm going to take Bryce Young here over Will Levis.
Yep.
I'm I like the upside, and I think that if that was the choice, there's a very real world where Chris Ballard would choose Will Levis because of the traits over Bryce Young. But I do
Hmm.
like Bryce Young's ability to run this offense a little bit better. All they need to do is get a couple guys in free agency on this offensive side of the ball, on the offensive line, a couple of skill players, and this offense can be pretty good. And Bryce Young, they can keep him upright. I talked about it already.
Yep.
If they go and get Taylor Lewan in free agency, pair him with Quentin Nelson, and you got an all-star center in the middle, that's an entire half of your offensive line that's just rock solid. They're still pretty good on right guard, and I think they just need right tackle or
Hmm.
one of those two. I forget which one it is. They could use one of those two guys. So they go and just add some of these guys in free agency, and all of a sudden this offensive line is cooking. Bryce Young would have time, and that's what he needs, right? He needs to be able to be
Absolutely.
protected. That's why I don't like him going somewhere like Arizona well, not Arizona, but like the Houston Texans or
Yeah.
the Raiders or, some of these teams, they just cannot keep him upright, and it'd just be a
Yeah.
mistake to go and get him. So Bryce Young off the board there at 4.
All right. All right. So at 5, I have the first of the 2 first round picks for the Seahawks. And I think, I mean, I can go offense or defense, you know. I don't think they're gonna get an offensive lineman this early because they already got their bookend tackles in last year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think they're gonna go with Tyree Wilson is who I think they're gonna go with.
Really? I'll give you this one. I think
Yes.
they would go Jalen Carter. I
Yes.
think
Yep.
Jalen Carter having the stuff, the arrest stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that would care. Like I don't think
That's
Pete
true,
Carroll
that's
would
true.
care like at all.
That that that
So,
that 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 that
but
that is very fair. No,
but no, I do get
and
it though.
yeah, yeah, and I understand that, I see Tyree Wilson as this physical freak, that's, like, he tested really well and, like,
Mm-hmm.
he's been jumping off the screen, but, I really think they need a pass rusher and not
Yep.
necessarily a run stuffer, and
Yeah, I do.
I kinda think because of that difference that they're gonna
Sure.
go maybe end compared to interior linemen.
Sure. I will say, I think Jalen Carter is going to be more than just a run stuffer. I think he's going to be a
That's true.
disruptor up the middle.
Yes,
But
fair
no,
enough,
I
fair
definitely get where
enough.
you're coming from there. So, all right, 6 overall here. Lions are on the clock. There's a lot of talk about them, adding a quarterback. I just don't really see it at this point in time. Jared
Yeah,
Goff has been
I
too
agree.
good. If anything, I
Yep.
think they're going to be the team that takes Hendon Hooker in the second round.
Mhm.
Honestly, he
Yeah.
makes more sense to them than any of these other guys, in my opinion. What they really need is defensive players. And, Tyree Wilson is off the board. Jalen Carter here, though, that's tough to pass up. Now, the question is whether they would
Yep.
go Jalen Carter or secondary. And if I'm looking at it, who was their all-star guy that they just got last year? The edge. Oh, what's his face? I can see his face. I just can't think of his name.
I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Oh man, we're gonna look so dumb for this. What was his name?
Yep,
You can pull it up while I'm talking about this, but I'm going to take
yep.
Jalen Carter here. And, I get it. I think that Dan Campbell is a guy all about second chances. Detroit, they're building it the right way. And I think that they're going to be a team that can really just break through with him. And, you pair him with, did you find it?
I haven't yet, I'm looking.
Oh, man, this is going to bug me so bad.
Jesus.
Hutchinson.
Okay.
That's who we're talking about. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we forgot that. But yeah, pairing Jalen Carter with Aiden Hutchinson. They've got Houston on the other side. So it's a pretty solid front group now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think Jalen Carter is going to be a disruptor. I think Dan Campbell is going to be able to try and at least think that he can get through to this guy. So Jalen Carter to Detroit was such an easy pick. I know they need cornerbacks, but I think the cornerbacks are going to fall a little bit in this draft. So we're going to be able to talk about them maybe at 18. So we'll see how the board falls. But yeah, I love Jalen Carter to the Detroit Lions here at 6.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I feel he is a Dan Campbell guy through and through,
Oh yes.
and there's so many other top end cornerbacks in this draft that are going to be at 18. So I think passing on those guys at 6 is a good idea. So
All right.
so I'm on the
Who are you taking at 7?
So I'm on the clock at 7 with the Las Vegas Raiders. Really hate to go quarterback here. Like I
It's
feel
good
it
value
depends
though
if
for Will
they.
Levis.
It
It is good
is,
value.
it is, and I'm not a huge Will Levis guy, but I feel it's realistic that they're not going to get Aaron Rodgers. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get Jimmy G. I mean, I can
I
maybe
think they're
see
going to get Jimmy
Jimmy
G,
G.
but Jimmy G and
Yeah,
Will
but
Levis is actually a perfect combination because Jimmy's going to be
yeah.
healthy for 5 games.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. So with that pick, I'm gonna go Will Levis. Like that
All
just makes
right.
the most sense there. I'm not really super pumped about it, but I get it for where the Raiders are right now.
Yeah, and again, we don't love Will Levis, but there is a real possibility that he can develop into something good, right?
Yeah.
He has a lot of the raw talent. You pair
Yep.
him with the Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to probably start early on in the year. By week 9, week 10, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be injured, and that's the perfect time to kind of give Will Levis an opportunity, see what he's been able to soak up through those first few weeks. You're taking a lot of the pressure off him that way, and maybe he can come out there and perform a little bit better. So that gives me Atlanta at 8, and I actually love this because I'm going Devin Witherspoon. I would be so thrilled with this because you pair Devin Witherspoon with their A.J. Terrell, their other cornerback, who is a stud. A.J. Terrell got injured last year, and you definitely saw a downgrade in the defensive players. But now you have Devin Witherspoon, who is my cornerback 1 in this draft class. You pair those two guys together, and you could have an all-star cornerback duo for the next 5-10 years. So give me Devin Witherspoon, pair him with A.J. Terrell, fix that secondary a little bit more, and boom, we're rolling.
Yeah, I do like that. Like it's for the Falcons. Like they do need to fix their secondary. It's been bad for a long time, and they just need playmakers there.
Yep,
So just plain and simple.
100%.
So all right. So at pick number 9, I
Do
got
it.
the I
Do it.
do what? Do what? Oh man. I
You
mean,
know what I
I
want.
could I could go wide receiver or I could go offensive line. Those
Do
are the
it.
2 I'm Now, I would really love somebody to protect Justin Fields here, and
Yeah,
I
but they
mean,
have
I
$8
would probably
million or $80
just
million in
just
free
listen to
agency.
what I'm gonna say.
All
I
right,
mean,
all right. Come on. Stop
I'm either
teasing
gonna
me.
pair him with Paris Johnson, which
Yep.
was his tackle at Ohio State a couple years ago, or I'm gonna pair him with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that's who I'm going with. Give me
Yes.
JSN
Let's
all day.
go.
JSN season.
Let's
I love
go.
it.
I've heard
I
so many
love it. I love
people.
it.
I've
Love it.
heard so many people talking about a trade down from 1 to 9 with Carolina
Yep.
today. And oh yeah, we can just go like offensive linemen. It's like, no, take Jackson Smith and Jigba. We've all agreed if if you're trading back from 1 to 9, you're picking up a lot of
Yeah.
assets right there. 2,
Yep.
they
Yep.
have $1 billion in free agency. They can sign.
Oh,
There's
so
a
much.
lot of good offensive linemen available.
Yes,
There's
there
not
are.
good wide receivers.
Tons.
There's not good wide receivers in the draft. JSN just solidified himself in my mind as the number 1 wide receiver in this draft
100%.
class. You pair him with his college quarterback, so you know that they have synergy together. It just makes so much sense that it's too hard to pass up. Go get your guy, the franchise guy. You know you're going to be able to just absolutely. We talked about it with Bryce Young. You're not going to electrify a fan base versus an Anthony Richardson. Jackson Smith and Jigba will do that for the Bears. Bears fans would be so excited if they were able to do this, and I think Fields will be a very big advocate for getting JSN on this
100%.
team. So go do it.
100%.
I do love, and I get the Paris Johnson, but I don't think they're going to need him. They're going to sign whoever they want on the offensive side, like on the offensive line this offseason. So
very true. Yeah.
No, I wanted to take that pick from you. I'm so excited to make that pick. So excited to make that one. So, all right. So now number 10 overall here, we've got the Eagles. I'm very tempted to take Bijan here, but here's the thing. I don't think that they need one here, and I like this player a little bit more. I'd be going Christian Gonzalez, another cornerback here. I think that he's a very, very close second to Devin Witherspoon, and, if we're going with the best options, Bradbury is a free agent. He did cost them a little bit in the Super Bowl, but there's a likelihood that they don't bring him back in free agency. So you go and get another guy to pair on this team with Darius Slay, and all of a sudden you're just fine. So go get Christian Gonzalez. I know it's not the biggest need on the team, but we're not drafting for needs here. I think Gonzalez is just one. He's a solid player that you're going to be able to rely on. Slay is getting a little bit older, so you'd have a backup replacement there. And two, I think he's a very, very good player. So you're getting a potential long-term starter there as well. So give me Christian Gonzalez here at 10 for the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I do like that for the Eagles, and I think they have an embarrassment of riches right now, and they're just going to take the best guy available on their board.
For sure.
And that's going to be whoever, it's going to be whoever is on top of the board at that point. So, all right, so I got the fighting Mike Vrabels here. at 11.
They're getting rid of Derrick Henry, so
yes, they are getting rid. I really thought about taking Bijan here, but
I don't hate it actually.
I really don't either. Honestly, it feels gross taking a running back this high, and I don't think I can get myself to do it right yet.
Real quick, I just want to rail on PFF. How the hell is Bijan your 27th player? Come on, man.
That's because they love the passing game.
Stupid, dude. It's so stupid. You have Dalton Kincaid at 17 and Bijan at 27. Which one of these two guys changes a franchise more? Which one?
Dalton Kincaid, come on.
Stupid, man. It's so dumb. I'm so sick of PFF's grades on stuff. Oh, he's a running back, so let's just knock him 10 roster points. It's why, dude? It's stupid.
No, I understand that. So with that for the Titans, I know they just released Taylor Lewan, so they definitely need a tackle. That offensive line was not as good as it has been in years past.
Rough.
It was bad.
Very rough.
It was bad. It was very rough. And so with that, I'm going to go with the first tackle off the board and Paris Johnson Jr.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I do like Peter Skronsky.
Yep.
But I've watched Paris Johnson Jr. for the past 3 years, at Ohio State. So I know he's it, and I feel he really solidified a very high end selection with the combine result.
I was gonna say he tested out of this world, didn't he?
Very well. Yes, very, very well. Yes.
Okay. I was I didn't watch all of the offensive linemen, but I do remember him I remember hearing about him just cutting it up. So, no, I do love that quite a bit for them. I think he would be a very good Vrabel type of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he would.
And it also makes sense. As much as we always talk about offensive line is so important, they always just seem to fall, I think it's silly, but they always seem to go much later than they actually need. So, that said, at 12 here, we are going to go Quentin Johnston, and I think that it just is a very good pairing. You pair him with Anthony Richardson. Quentin Johnston had a very good combine as well. You really need offensive weapons, especially if they're moving Brandon Cooks. They're still going to have Nico Collins. They might be getting Mechie Jr. back, but yeah, you need a guy. You need somebody, and if you're pairing him with Yeah.
Yes.
If you're pairing him with Anthony Richardson, who has accuracy issues, give him a
Issues,
guy
yes.
who is a blazer, first
It's
off.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's massive. Two, he's a
Mhm.
burner, right? He can get down the field quickly to
Yep.
pair with Anthony Richardson's cannon there. But three, he's a pretty good contested catch guy as well. I know that there's a lot of people that talked about it, but he did make, in my opinion, he suffered more from quarterback play this last year at TCU than anything else, you know? Like, there's
Mhm.
so many people, oh, he's only a body catcher. But I saw so many plays where he just went up and got it. And, you know, I think that he can do that with an Anthony Richardson. It just seems like a perfect pairing there that you're going to combine these two guys together. So, Quentin Johnson at number 12 to the Houston Texans.
No, and I agree with that, and then that's another reason why the Texans won't trade up to 1, because they would probably have to trade that 12th pick.
I
They
don't think so.
Well,
I don't,
they maybe
maybe.
they might have to. So, I feel they have so many holes to fill
I
that
know. Yep.
they did that they just need to keep their picks and just hold pat,
Yep.
and just do that. So, all right, I'm going with pick 13 in the Jets, and I'm going to go offensive lineman again with Peter Skronsky.
Okay.
I probably butchered his name again, but
Skoronsky.
Skoronsky,
Yep.
uh, but for him, like, I mean, I could either be between him and Broderick Jones, who also tested very very well, and really unfortunately, like the Jets don't well like have been picking a lot of offensive linemen lately, and they have hit on a few, but
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that they get injured, and
Yep.
and 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 honestly, like you cannot have enough offensive linemen. And this guy's a top tier lineman and going to be good for the next decade. So
Yep. I'm with you there. So no, it's a good pick, and in reality, it might not be picking them there. It might be Green Bay, because we both
mhm.
agree that in all reality, after the Derek Carr signing, that
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, and by the time we're recording this a little bit early, so by the time you're listening to this, Aaron Rodgers might already be on the Jets,
yeah,
but it
could
just
be.
makes too much sense for them to get Aaron Rodgers at this point in time. So that brings me my New England Patriots at 14 here, and it's kind of
Mm.
a rough situation, to be honest with you. I don't really love the board the way it's fallen. I honestly think what we would end up doing here, just based on Bill Belichick's, we met with almost every single cornerback at
Oh
the
my
draft.
gosh.
Um, and I don't really love, I would have loved to get Christian Gonzalez here. I know
Mhm.
that Bill Belichick is super high. He might even trade up to 10 to try and get him in front of the Eagles, because we need a cornerback so badly. But here's the thing. It's the Patriots, and you look at their draft assets. We got 46, 76, 107, 117. Nothing super great. I could see Bill Belichick really trading out here, and I don't love that. It's just
Mhm.
kind of, Bill Belichick has not been great in the draft for a while now
No, he
in terms
hasn't.
of value. The old Bill magic seems to be kind of gone a little bit
Dwindling.
here,
Yeah.
but honestly, I'd be between Joey Porter Jr. and Brian Branch, and looking at the age of McCourty, I think that we'd probably go Brian Branch here just because of how the cornerbacks have fallen, and we'd probably try and get a cornerback in the second round that would be able to pair here with these guys. And that does seem where Bill gets a lot of his valuable cornerbacks now.
Yes.
Maybe
Yep.
we try and bring back Josh Jones in free agency, but we're going to have to do something there at cornerback. And I just don't know if the way the board fell, I think Brian Branch is a better player. The Alabama connection is just too good there.
Mhm.
So go and get me Brian Branch from Alabama to replace McCourty if he doesn't come back this
Right.
year. And even if he
Right.
does, you have a replacement in waiting for
Mhm.
him going forward.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm honestly surprised that like you didn't. Well, two things. I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots trade for um, Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, I could see that for sure.
I,
For
I I
sure.
could see that
And
because like
Allen
he's an
Robinson. It might be
aging
a
star.
twofer.
Yes, yes, and I could see them doing that. Trading for these aging stars and stuff like that, kind of getting them a little bit on the cheap,
Yep.
but and stuff like that. But and then on the other side, if they do have this pick, I wouldn't be. I think it'd be interesting if they went with Bijan Robinson.
I just
I know
don't
that's
see it.
I know
It's
that's
been
not a huge
popular.
need.
You're
It
not the only
has
one
been.
that suggests it. I just
Yeah.
don't see it personally. Like we have Ramondre. Bill's whole thing is he just gets guys in like the third round to replace the guys in
Yeah.
2 years. Like it,
Yep.
I get it. Bijan is such a good player, but I just don't see it for this team specifically.
Right.
So no, it's
So
not a bad
no.
thought though. You're
Yeah.
not the only one that said that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So all right, I'm on the clock with the Aaron Rodgerless Packers.
Yep.
Um,
This will be
and
interesting to see what they do
it's
here.
it is. I think they need playmakers. I understand that the defense wasn't as good, but it was still good enough.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if they went with like a Nolan Smith who was a
That's the name
freak
that stood out to
at
me. Yep.
yes, at the combine. I think they could go him or, I could honestly see Dallas Kincaid going here, but I know your disdain for or
Dalton
Dalton
Kincaid.
Kincaid, excuse me. Yeah.
I
So,
yeah.
um,
I
I
just
I
think
get it.
they'd
I
go
get it.
Myers over Kincaid personally, but
And that's who I'm gonna pick here is Michael Mayer.
oh,
Yep, yep, yep,
nice.
yes, yes, yeah. So I think Jordan Love needs a safety valve,
Yep.
and 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 then they already have Aaron Jones,
Yep.
who can be that guy out of the backfield, but they need a better tight end than Robert Tunyon, who is what, like 30 years old at this point. Like they need somebody who has a little bit fresher legs. Like I do understand that Mayer didn't have the best combine, and
It wasn't
and
bad
all
though.
the
Like
best.
he was a good
Yeah, yeah,
athlete.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
not a top tier athlete, which is not his
Yes.
game. Like that's just not
No,
what he does.
it is definitely not. And this guy is going to be a PPR monster.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For
I'm
sure.
very excited for him. Like I can see him being like a Zach Ertz type
Right.
personally.
That's what everyone talks about them as needing a wide receiver. Just get Michael Mayer. He can block and
Mm-hmm.
he's a good pass catcher.
Yep.
So he
Yep.
fills both holes,
100%.
right? So
Yep.
no, I like that
100%.
a lot, to be honest with you. And that's why I don't like Kincaid. Like it's not like I don't like Kincaid. I just don't like him
Right.
above Michael Mayer because Michael Mayer is
That's fair.
a full package. Like, yes,
Right.
Kincaid might be able he's more of an Evan Ingram type of player. He might be a little bit flashier in the passing game, but
Right.
he can't block for shit. So,
That's true.
that's
That
the
is true.
downside there. All
That
right,
is
so that
very true.
leaves me up with the Washington
Mm-hmm.
Commanders. Now, they're looking right now, and again, PFF. Yeah, they need a quarterback. Obviously, yep, we get that piece. What
Yeah.
is this, man? Tanner
Lol.
McKee is your 32 ranked quarterback,
Lol.
and Hendon Hooker is
Lol.
91.
That's
What is this
amazing. I love
garbage?
that. I love that for PFF. That's hilarious.
What?
That's
He's so trash, man. Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
Oh,
All
man,
right. So
amazing.
you look at the guards and the centers. There's really nobody here that's exciting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You look at the defensive side of the ball. Linebacker is a fairly big need for them, but again, your first linebacker is not until halfway down the
Mhm.
board. You know who I'm going to go here? I'm actually going Bijan Robinson. I think the
Woo!
fall stops here. Antonio Gibson is somebody that we know Ron Rivera has not been thrilled with
He
for a
hates him.
while.
He hates him with a fiery passion.
And they do have Brian Robinson, Bijan. You could have the
Yep.
Robinson, the B,
Ooh.
almost one letter different Robinsons.
You're right.
Brian versus Bijan, like
Oh my gosh.
that's going to be a tongue twister. But no, I
It's
just
gonna
think
be
that
insane,
Bijan
man.
Robinson, he's such a full package player, and I get it. They have Brian Robinson, they have Antonio Gibson, but you can get a guy who's just solid and you're filling
Mhm.
a massive need. They're going to be able to get a quarterback if they want one. They've already talked about getting a vet in free agency. Maybe a Jameis Winston comes over here, somebody like that. So we'll see who they end up getting to compete with Sam Howell. But yeah, I think that just based on how the board fell, their defense is pretty solid. I could even see a Dalton Kincaid here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that Bijan, it just makes a lot of sense here. So that gives you the
Yeah.
Steelers at 17.
Yeah, I got these Steelers and, I honestly, like, I have 3 different players in mind, and they play, well, like, their positions are their team need, tackle, was that linebacker and cornerback?
Yep.
So I mean, I'm either thinking Joey Porter Jr., Nolan Smith, or I'm thinking Broderick Jones.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that's who I'm thinking of right now because honestly, Kenny Pickett was running for his life so much. It
I
was
know.
it was it was comical.
Yeah,
It was comical. So, but like with that, like I think they can get another guy, like maybe like a DeJuan Jones or something like that. Who's this
they could do
hulking of a man
both.
who, yeah, honestly, they could, and they would definitely need them. So, but I think I'm going to go with Joey Porter Jr. because of obviously with the Joey Porter connection
Hmm.
to the Steelers.
Sure.
Um, I
It's a big need.
I
They're
think he's
losing
going to
Cam
stay.
Sutton in free agency.
Yes, 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 and it is a big need, and and then with that, like he's going to stay in state. Like Mike Tomlin probably knows him and has known him since he was a kid. And stuff like
Sure.
that. So like he's seen him growing up. He knows the talent. I think that's going to be a home run pick for him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So, no, it's definitely a good pick, and I like it. I like it a lot. I do think they need offensive line, but there are later
I
picks
think there's yes, yes.
that you
I
can
think there's
fill with
plenty
these
of
guys. All right, so that leaves me the Lions. I get both Lions picks. How about
yeah, yeah,
that?
you do.
How about that? So who am I going here? Ooh,
I kn I know who I already know who I would go for, but that's
lay it
just
out
me.
for me. Maybe you can sway me.
I mean I mean, I'm gonna go with a physical freak. Like, you already went with one at 6,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be his Georgia teammate, Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith.
Like, that feels
I
like
did look at
that
that.
that
I'm not
that
gonna lie
feels
to
like a
you.
home
I
run.
was looking at
Feels
him
like
and
a home
Lucas
run.
Van Ness. Both of them tested pretty well,
Yes.
right?
Yes, they did.
The only thing I was thinking about, though, I was looking at a little bit, was thinking through whether they would go Dalton Kincaid
And
with
try to replace Hawkinson.
a little bit, yes, but I'm not
Interesting.
going to do that because I think that this tight end class is super deep, with
Mhm.
good players, right? Like Sam
Right.
Laporta, Darnell Washington. Ooh,
Yep. He would be fun. That's what I was thinking. I was
ooh.
thinking Darnell
Darnell
Washington.
Washington. I'm
He
taking him here. I think he's too good, man. I
Yes.
forgot about Darnell
Yes.
for a second because PFF's
Yes.
crappy. Like,
Buried him. Yeah.
so you guys see this, right? Darnell Washington was rated down in the 90s behind Sam
Oh
Laporta,
my
Tucker
gosh.
Kraft, Luke Schoonmaker was
Shoemaker, yeah.
Schoonmaker was ahead of him. Like, this is how
Oh my
egregious this
gosh.
board is. It's so
Amazing.
bad. Give me Darnell
That's
Washington.
amazing.
Physical freak. Seems like a guy that would be a Dan Campbell guy all the way.
Oh,
Replaces a
he is a
need,
day through and
and
through.
he
Yeah.
can block. This offensive line might be the nastiest. Like, this might be the nastiest group of blockers in the entire
They
league. It is disgusting.
they are gonna eat so many kneecaps.
Oh my
It's not
lord.
funny.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
real.
funny.
The
So
the
many
one
kneecaps.
thing, like, Jared Goff, keep him healthy, keep him upright, and man, this team can cook. I'm not. I like that too
It's gonna
much.
get
Darnell Washington to
it's gonna be
Detroit.
scary in Detroit if that happens.
Let's
It's gonna be
go,
scary.
my dude, Darnell Washington.
Yes, no, I like that. I love it, I love it, I love it. Alright, so I'm on the clock with the Tom Brady-less Buccaneers, and I think I wanna replace him. And I don't like I mean, Kyle Trask is okay, like, they did spend a second round pick on him, but I'm going with the I believe I'm gonna go with, like, the 90 something ranked the 91st ranked player in
Ooh,
Hendon Hooker. I'm going with Hendon Hooker to replace Tom Brady as the starting quarterback of the Buccaneers.
wow,
Yeah,
high
yeah,
first round
so
pick. Like, I thought he would be
yes,
around. I think
yes.
he'd be a trade
Nope,
up candidate, but
yep.
dang, I can get on board with this.
He probably definitely will be, but, you know, I feel the Bucks need to do something, I think they're either gonna try to get, like, a Jimmy G or
Sure,
they're gonna trade for somebody, but
Jameis
or they're
reconnection.
oh my god, that would be amazing. 30 for 30, man.
Yes, sir.
Sign me up,
No,
sign
40
me
for
up,
40.
but
You got an extra
40
game
for
now.
40. Love it, yeah, that's true, But, you know, honestly, it's with Hendon Hooker. Like, I can see him starting over Kyle Trask. Like, I think
Sure.
he's a better prospect,
Mm-hmm.
personally. I didn't mind Kyle Trask, but, like, it was a draft he was in with I believe it was the draft with, you know, like, Trevor Lawrence, you know, all of those guys. So he was buried even further down.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't know how he would necessarily rank in, like, today well, like, in the 2023 draft, but I don't think it would be as high as Hendon.
Sure. All right, so number 20 overall, I am going to fill another hole on this team. And you already took at 5. You ended up taking Tyree Wilson, helping up with
Mhm.
that defensive line for Seattle. And I'm going to go with a player you probably didn't expect too much, but I'm going to take Jordan Addison here. I think Jordan
Oh
Addison,
my god,
there's
what?
there's a lot of concerns about Jordan Addison, but dude's
Right?
still really fast. 4.49.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a little slow for his size, but he's extremely shifty. He's a very, very shifty
Yeah.
player. And, you know, you got Tyler Lockett, who is getting up there in age. You got DK Metcalf. Those guys on the outside are winners. You put Jordan Addison in the slot, and man, you got a problem. They just re signed Geno Smith to a 3-year contract. Like you said last year, they bookended those 2 tackle positions.
Yep.
So they need some interior help, things like that. But at this point in time, there's nobody there that I'm really looking at taking in the draft. Defensive side, they're good. They're not elite. You already got one player there. There are more picks in the draft. Again, you've got more options available here. So just looking at it really quickly, for the Seattle Seahawks, they've got, where'd they go? They've got 37 coming up, 51, 83, 122. Like, they have a lot of picks here
Yeah,
in the
they
next
do.
picks.
Yeah,
So
they do.
they
I
can
like it.
shoot for some of those guards, some of those later safeties, and some of the positions that fall a little bit further down. Give me Jordan Addison to fill out this trio of wide receivers, and I like that a lot. And you look at the other guys that are available. Again, you know, you've got some of these guys. Zay Flowers, I don't trust him after the combine. Like, he was okay. Like, he wasn't bad. Jordan
I thought he
Addison,
tested really well,
he
personally.
tested
That's
well,
just me.
but not. He's so small, and he wasn't much better than Jordan Addison. And Jordan Addison, we've done it against better tier competition. That's the main difference there. So
Right.
give me Jordan Addison over Zay Flowers, and yeah, I like that a lot for this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that. And I have to comment on the PFF rankings one more time. They
Hmm.
have Tank Dell at
It's
43.
so stupid. It's so dumb,
That is
man.
I'm not even a Jalen Hyatt fan, and I feel that's disrespectful.
Oh, it is for sure. They're gonna
It
update
it
these
it
over the next
is.
couple weeks, but it's still
I
stupid.
sure hope so.
A.T.
There's no way
Perry,
to
Michael Wilson,
Tank
like, what are we
Tank Dell
doing?
is 5'8", Alvin. He's 5'8".
Oh, I know. I know.
He's so tiny.
I
He
know.
is tiny. He's smaller than all the other guys that are gonna go ahead. It's just
I'm with
insane.
you. I'm with you.
It's just insane.
PFF, man.
Alright,
PFF. It's
I'm
a
done
hell of
on
a
my
drug.
tangents. Oh, whew, I love it.
All right, Chargers. Who are
But
they going?
alright, Chargers at 21. I wish I was picking for my Dolphins, but, you know, they had the Tom Brady scandal,
Yep.
like usual.
Stop being
They're always
cheaters,
full of
man.
it. I know, I
This
need
is
to
a good
stop,
spot for one
but
guy you've been talking about for a little while now.
yeah, so I really wanna take Nolan Smith, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with Dalton Kincaid.
You're going Dalton
I'm pick
Kincaid?
I'm going Dalton Kincaid.
Really?
Yes. I think he
Even though
would
they're going to
fit.
get Dalton Schultz in free agents,
If they get Dalton Schultz, I will vomit everywhere.
he's going to follow his
I
boy. He's going to follow his boy,
oh yeah, yeah,
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. Yeah, no, I like Dalton Kincaid. I think he is more of a wide receiver than a
Sure.
tight end,
Yep.
and I still think they can have Gerald Everett, you know, blocking,
He's a
doing
free
whatever
agent
Gerald Everett
technically,
does.
by the way.
Whatever Jared Everett does, it doesn't matter because they're gonna have Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
So I think that's gonna be a fun offense to have, and I think they're gonna need another weapon, you know, because Keenan Allen's getting older. Mike
Hmm.
Williams
Can't
is
stay
broken.
healthy.
No, he cannot. I mean, I would have loved to go Zay Flowers here, but but I think Kincaid is too tempting to have. It's to have because he's a bigger body guy compared to these smaller wide receivers. So I'm going Dalton Kincaid.
All right, perfect. So that leaves me the Ravens. Now, the Ravens are going to get interesting because we don't know what they're going to do with Lamar. But that said, I just think it's going to be too hard to pass up. Everyone's got them pegged on wide receiver, but the way
Yep.
that this board is falling, give me Nolan Smith here. Like, Nolan Smith. Like, if it's a need for the team, it's a premium
Yeah.
position, and man,
Yep.
it's so good for this team.
Yep. No, I like that pick. I was gonna take him next with Minnesota. So
There's
is
another guy
what
there
I was
though.
planning on doing.
No, there's a
Yeah.
few guys
So
left.
there are a few guys there. So with Minnesota, they need defense, and more defense. I
Yep.
think they need Mike Zimmer, running the defense personally. So I
If
feel
he
there's a
wasn't such a
lot of decent.
jackass.
Well, I can't help that part. I mean, he as a head coach, but as a D coordinator,
He was great.
fantastic.
Great.
So, I mean, I could go a lot of different ways here. Like, there's a lot of good defensive players,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. So, like I could go with one of the Clemson guys, with Brian Brees or Miles Murphy. I could honestly go Lucas Van Ness,
I was
but
gonna say
I
that's
think with
hard to pass up. Kalijah
it
Kancey is pretty
really
good
is.
too. Kalijah Kancey was
Yeah,
such a wrecker,
right,
at the combine. He's basically Aaron Donald without the power.
right. So, I mean, I mean, I was really hoping Nolan Smith would have been there, and I think he would have been a great addition because because they just released Kendricks.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think I'm going to go with Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah, that's who I would have gone to. I'm with
I'm
you.
gonna stick with that one.
I'm
So
with you. I get it. I definitely get it. So, no, it's a good pick and fills a need for the team. I don't
yep,
think you can really go wrong at this point getting an athletic freak
no,
for the
yep,
team.
hundred
So,
percent, hundred
all right,
percent.
Jaguars are now on the clock. Who am I going with the Jaguars here? This is a good position to be in. Not too many,
Mm-hmm.
not too many needs. They made
Yeah,
the playoffs, won the first playoff round of the playoffs. So, definitely been going well there. Now, here's the thing. Osiris Torrance is the guy that jumps off
yep,
the page to me.
yep. That's who I
And
was thinking too.
according to PFF, this is a massive reach, but I honestly think that he's going to be a
Don't
late
care.
first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And this just seems like it's just a win-win. It's a Florida team, it's a
Yeah,
position of need. And
makes sense.
yeah, and if we know anything about the head coach, what's his name?
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. Thank you. Doug Peterson, he's going to want to build out the offensive line. He made that a very high priority in Philadelphia, and that offensive line last year was a little bit of a weakness. So give me Osiris Torrance here at 24 to the Jaguars.
I really like that because you need to protect your franchise quarterback.
Yep, I'm
Hundred
with you.
percent.
With you.
I get that. So at 25, I have the Giants. I personally think they're going to lose Saquon in free agency, so I
Yep,
could go Jimmy Gibbs. Um, I mean that's who I would think here. I think anybody else would be a reach at this point. Any other running back.
sure.
But I'm going to go wide receiver.
Okay.
I'm gonna be
My only
so
problem with these receivers at this point is like I don't think any of these guys are what the Giants need. They need an alpha dog. You know
no.
what I mean? And
Yes, they
these
do.
guys, they're all so small. They're all
Yes.
so small. That's the only downside I have with all of them. But
Yes.
you know,
So
it's yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, I think it'd be nice to have a tight end here.
Sure.
But I mean, I think in the real NFL draft there will be. I don't think there's going to be three tight ends taken in the first what
No.
20 something picks.
25 picks. Yeah. No way.
I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going with a guy I love. I love Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers. All right. All
I
right.
absolutely love Zay. I know you don't like Zay Flowers.
I
I
don't hate
think
him. I don't hate him. It's not bad.
I think I've been seeing a lot of Jalen Hyatt going mocked to the Giants, and
Really.
we yeah I've been seeing it a lot of places,
Hmm.
and I don't hate that, but I think Zay
I think
Flowers has that dog. I
yeah.
personally feel that.
Yep.
Flowers has that dog in him that Hyatt doesn't, and I feel he
Sure.
can be real scrappy. And I think they need a better Kadarius Toney type who's going to stay healthy and on the
Yep.
field.
Yep.
So
I'm with you. I'm with you. I could see that. No, I'd say it's not
yeah,
bad. I was gonna say I'd rather have Zay Flowers and just re-sign Darius Slayton versus bringing
yeah,
in a Jalen
yep,
Hyatt, because then you
yep,
need a Zay
100%,
Flowers type of role, and there's
yep,
nobody out there for that. So, no, I think Zay
100%.
Flowers, bring back Darius Slayton, and then you're kind of cooking a little bit
Mm,
more here with
yep,
gas. So, I don't hate it, but yeah, it just kind of does stink. Like I wish some of these guys would be more alpha dogs for their teams at this
mm,
point.
yeah,
All right,
yep.
the Dallas Cowboys. I'm actually going to go with the guy here. I'm going to go Broderick Jones, and I know defense is going to be very
Mm,
popular for them, but the
mm.
problem with the Dallas Cowboys the last couple of years is their offensive line. They're great when they're healthy, but they have no depth
Yeah,
whatsoever.
they
And
have struggled to stay healthy.
yeah, and Broderick Jones,
Right.
Tyron Smith is their left tackle. Guy was once a superstar, but he's been beat up so much in his career. There's a real chance that he might retire this offseason. I've still heard that a lot. And I think Broderick Jones would just be a perfect long-term replacement option for him. He fell pretty far in the draft, but everyone's talking about you need to keep Dak healthy. You need to keep him upright. You need to keep him safe so that he
Mhm.
can perform better and everything. And I just think that Broderick Jones makes that happen here. And you look at the competitors in this league, in this division, and it's a rough group of defensive ends.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
you need
It's
some
a
good
yeah.
tackles. And if you can't rely on your guys to stay healthy, I like this a lot for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I do like that a lot, and plus that goes back to some quotes that Mike McCarthy had at the combine that they wanna run the ball,
Oh
and
yeah, true. Yeah.
they just tagged Tony Pollard, and
Yep.
they have Zeke potentially, like, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be shocked if they tried to cut Zeke,
They'll
I don't know what the
restructure him.
cap
I don't
damage.
think they'll cut him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's gonna be interesting them having that two-headed monster and
Yep.
a bigger, stronger offensive.
Yep. I'm with you.
Alright, so I'm on the board with the Buffalo Bills. I love Josh Allen so much, and I just wanna keep him upright, I wanna be shocked if they went with, like a guard or something like that, like, if I can even see them, like, trying to get, like, DeJuan Jones, and maybe move him inside, at 6'8", being this
Yeah.
giant human being.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That would be utterly I would be so scared. I'd be scared.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
So
with you there. That's for
so
sure.
but I'm going to I mean,
Don't
I've
go
thought
Jahmyr Gibbs,
about
please. Please don't. Don't do it. It's not going to happen. That's like there's
but
0%. Even if we
I
want it
know,
to happen, it's just wish casted at this point.
no,
Like
I
at least
know,
some of this other stuff, like we took Anthony Richardson too because we want that to happen.
right?
There is actually like maybe a
Oh,
5% chance that they go Anthony Richardson. There's a 0% chance they go Jahmyr Gibbs here. I wish it would
I
happen, but it won't
I
happen.
I love that you were reading my mind here because I really do like I do like Jimmy Gibbs.
I know. I'm with you.
Um,
I get it. I do. I do. I just think that it's so unrealistic because people have been
right,
doing it
oh,
for years now. It's
it
like
is.
the Packers taking a first round wide receiver. It's just never
Yes,
gonna
yes,
happen.
yes, it just doesn't happen. Well, I don't care. I am the GM of the Bills. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs.
All right. All right.
Give me that running back one that I can have, I can rely on. I can't rely on James
Him and
Cook.
Cooks would
He can
be
just
actually a pretty good combo, though.
they
To be honest,
it
they're about
would
the
be a
same
good
size too.
duo. Yeah, so I would be happy with that, and I think he's going to be amazing in Buffalo.
Real quick,
But I know
no,
oh,
you're good. Real
yeah.
quick, one quick aside with this. The one problem I think that all the fantasy community out there need to really think about is I don't think we ever want a running back for Buffalo. I
No.
don't think Josh Allen
No.
is ever going to dump the ball off to a running back
Nope.
ever.
Probably not.
And if that's the case, like I just don't think you're ever going to get a ton of value from a running back for Buffalo.
No.
So, the good guys, I actually don't want them to go to Buffalo. I don't want them to go there to die, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
That's the one thing for these guys. But maybe Jahmyr Gibbs can change that because he is so special through the passing game. So maybe that can be the case. But yeah, it's a rough situation there. I forgot I haven't shown the draft board in a little bit here. Here we go. All right, so pick number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a good position to be in. You know, they're a good team. Really don't have a ton of needs here on the defensive side of the ball. I know that they're losing Eli Apple in free agency, and I don't think he's coming back. Your guy, I actually think that they'd probably be leaning cornerback here as a replacement. And the one guy I've heard a lot of good news about lately, I know Deonte Banks is super highly ranked here on their board, and you know he seems like a good player, but I actually have heard a lot about Cam Smith lately, and I think that he'd be the guy that they'd probably try and lean here for the Bengals. I think it fills on a position of need. I think Cam Smith is probably a better player than Deonte Banks personally. PFF disagrees, but you know it's kind of a crapshoot at this point in time. But yeah, I like Cam Smith a lot for the Bengals here at 28.
Yeah, I don't hate that because I can see the Bengals losing Jesse Bates as well in the back end.
Yep.
You know, I can, you know, so like with that, like you're missing half of your starting secondary.
Yep.
So like you need somebody young to replace them. I mean, I think if it was me personally with the Bengals pick, I would have taken a tackle because
I was thinking about it, but I just don't think the value's there anymore. DeJuan Jones maybe, but I just
that's who I was thinking.
Yeah,
no, I would feel.
It is Ohio State with Cincinnati, so maybe.
I know.
I could see it. I definitely could see it. I could definitely see it.
I could see it just based on that. And honestly, like I think they're going to cut Lyle Collins. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens.
I wouldn't
be shocked if that happens because I've been hearing some rumblings that they might cut him. So you know, like to save a little cash because the Bengals are so such a poor franchise anyway. But that's beside the point. So
all right, so you're on the clock here at 29. The Saints now have Derek Carr for what that's worth. Nothing. It's worth nothing.
No.
But who are you thinking here for the team at 29?
Yeah, so their team is old and getting older, and you know,
very
like
much so.
Cam. I mean, Cam Johnson is, you know, how old? You know, at this point,
Cam Jordan.
Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan.
He's up there, man. He's still getting paid a lot of money because of all the restructures and extensions.
Paid a lot of money. Yes, and then they're going to have to pick between one of their other defensive linemen that are going to leave in free agency. So with that, I think I'm going to go with Miles Murphy, edge Clemson.
Okay. Not bad. I was going to say the other guy I was looking at here would be your DeJuan Jones. Like I think that would be a pretty good
would not be a bad pick
combination here. Replacement for I think it's Andrus Pete on that side or Ramczyk or whatever his name is. So I forget which one is which, but no, I think because of the age factor, you're not missing out too much, but they do have a defensive head coach, so I could see them leaning that side of the ball. Especially since they really went after the offensive side last year with the tackle that they drafted. I forget his name actually, the feisty guy. That's all I remember. And then Chris Olave. So they're going to want to put a stamp on the defensive side of the ball for sure this upcoming draft. 100%. All right. The Eagles, I get both of their picks too. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you do.
Both Lions and Eagles here.
Texans and Texans.
And Texans, man. The only ones that flipped were the Seattle ones. So
yeah.
All right. So at 10, we took Christian Gonzalez. Again, not really a position of need here, but a very good long-term investment. And it just cracks me up. So, man, PFF, what are we doing, man? First off, they need a wide receiver for Philly. Like, what? are we doing? That's the biggest thing. I get it. They don't have a ton of needs on this team, but wide receiver is top 3 here.
No, they don't.
Like what? And then Tanner McKee at 32. What are we doing,
Love
man?
it.
What are we doing?
Tanner McKee, man.
This is so stupid.
It's because he's 6'6". That's
I know.
why.
It's really dumb.
Only reason.
So
Only
dumb.
reason.
Oh, it's so dumb. But that said, you know, you look at what their needs are actually on this team, and you know, we haven't taken a single linebacker, which is pretty crazy. There's just like none of them that are really that interesting here at all. Like at all, you know. I think they would probably go the way that Howie Roseman drafts. Typically, he thinks long term, and that's why I really respect. I really respect Howie Roseman for that piece of it. You know, he's willing to take shots on guys and miss, like the Jalen Ragers of the world over Justin Jefferson. Not great, but you know, he realized that and tried to make up for it with getting A.J. Brown. So I really respect that. I think that it's just too far for him to fall here. I think Kalijah Cansey is just too good of a player to pass up. Again, it's not specifically a position of need right now, but Philadelphia's front line is getting older. He's from Pittsburgh, too. I mean, it's just too good to I know it's not the same town. I get it. It's the Steelers in Pittsburgh, but it's Philadelphia. It's not that far away. So I think that they're going to be able to see a lot of this guy. He performed very well. And with the forward-thinking mindset of Howie Roseman, it's just too much value there to pass up. Give me Kalijah Cansey there at 32, the Eagles. So they do go double defense, but
I do love that, though.
Long-term, man.
I do love that because Fletcher Cox is getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to pair him up with Jordan Davis from last year. Like, you're going to have an unbelievable year line. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts.
All right, so that leaves you with the Chiefs at 31. And again, this is an embarrassment of riches. I was thinking about him for them at 31 if he would have made it. But, you know, there's a lot of good players. Again, we've kind of punted a little bit compared to PFF's board. But here's the thing. I'm going to make a pitch for you right here. They did just say that they came out today that their left tackle and their right tackles are both free agents. Now, they might try and re-sign these guys in the offseason. It's entirely possible next week they could re-sign both of them. But they do need both tackles. And you were just talking about a guy at tackle that you really, really love. We saw what happens to Patrick Mahomes when he can't be kept upright in the Super Bowl. There's your pitch for your boy, but you know there's a couple other guys here that are pretty interesting as well.
So I have a couple thoughts. Like I mean I could go interior line because I know they're going to get rid of Frank Clark.
Maybe. I think they could re-sign him.
I believe I saw that they're going to release.
Really?
That's what I saw.
I could see an extension, like a reworking of an extension. But
so I mean, I can go Brian Brees. You know, I've been seeing him, you know, like mocked. It was probably a month or so ago. Like he was like a top 15 player, and like you know, and then in our draft, you know, he's all the way, you know, probably going to be in the second round. You know, like I thought about that.
He's a good player for sure.
Yeah, he is. I honestly thought about Jalen Hyatt. I don't like Hyatt as a long-term prospect, but he could be Tyreek Hill 2.0. He could be.
Could be.
He very well could be. But I am getting myself a tackle. You cannot have enough tackles on a team.
No, for sure.
So I'm going with DeJuan Jones of the Ohio State University and pairing him up with Patrick Mahomes.
All right. It's analyzing our draft. We're going to see how we did here in 1 second.
Oh, boy. Probably all Fs. I hope so.
I don't think it does it for it doesn't do it for when you do it for all the teams, unfortunately.
Right.
But no, so that is the draft board is frozen. So congratulations, PFF. But no, DeJuan Jones at 31 to Kansas City. Again, both of their tackles are free agents, so it just makes sense. And again, they're the Super Bowl champions. Could they go wide receiver? They could go whatever they want, really, you know.
They could do anything.
If Jahmyr Gibbs is there, they could go Jahmyr Gibbs and feel just fine. People have been talking about trading for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is hilarious to me, by the way. Like, this offensive running back class is so ridiculous in both the draft and free agency, and people want to trade for running backs like Derrick Henry,
it's nuts.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, I just don't see much of a market for these guys. So we'll see. I guess we will see. But no, that was our first NFL mock draft, drafting for all 31 teams or whatever it was. It's not all 31 because not everybody has a first round pick. But let us know your thoughts over on YouTube, on Spotify or Twitter, wherever you follow the podcast. If you can leave a comment, leave a review, that'd be helpful for it. But no, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I appreciate you guys joining us for the for this mock draft, for this breakdown. And yeah, more fun content will be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Again, next week we have the free agency opens up on, I think, Tuesday at noon, if I remember right.
So, yeah.
So
I think that sounds right.
There could be a lot of movement on Tuesday. There could be no movement. Last year, it was kind of slow, but yeah, it's going to be definitely a good time. Dale, what are your thoughts? How did the mock draft go? You feeling good about your teams?
I thought it was great for me. I thought that you sniped me a couple times, which I'm a little salty about, but it will be okay.
Yep. Yeah, think about it where you don't get 15 of these guys, you only get one of them. How much worse that would feel. But no, that's no. Let us know your thoughts on the mock draft. We like doing this fun content for you guys. It's not specifically Dynasty related, but we just get to talk some football. So yeah, that said, thank you guys for joining us. You can find us over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale, answering all your questions all off season long. And real quick, going to plug this as well at the end of the podcast. So if you stay this long, thank you very much. But if you have a Dynasty roster you want analyzed, and we can do it on the podcast or we can do it off the podcast in the DMs as well, hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to be doing that this offseason again. Free advice for your whole roster, changes that I would be making, or, suggesting draft advice, things like that. So if you're interested, let us know over on Twitter. Hit me up in a DM. I can do it live on the podcast, fix your roster on the podcast, or, keep it down the download. So just wanted to throw that out there, promote that for you guys. If you're interested, hit me up. So that said, thank you guys so much for listening. Dale, any last thoughts?
Nope.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.